Hey there, welcome to another episode of Cooking with Violet Vixen. Tonight we are cooking pumpkin bread. Pretty straightforward. It will serve 6, but of course, if you want it to serve more, just cut the slices a little bit thinner. So, apart from these ingredients, which I'll talk you through shortly, we are also going to need oven on 180 or 160 fan forced. That's degrees Celsius. I don't know that in Fahrenheit, I'm sorry, in case you are watching from America. You'll also need a saucepan of water with salt in it. Bring that to the boil because we're going to cook the pumpkin in that. I'll explain that when we get to it. You'll also need a bowl, a masher or a smasher, something to mash the pumpkin. Some sort of a stirring stick, and a baking dish like banana bread. I traditionally use this for a loaf pan. Make sure you grease it and line it and have 2 ends overhanging, because when we go to lift it out, you lift it out by the paper and it's easy, and then you just peel the paper off. But anyway, that's a later thing. You'll also need, I always like to put things in the oven on a baking tray just in case it does bubble over. Bread is probably not going to bubble over, but I just find it easier if I've got a tray to grab at, because obviously the oven's hot and I don't want to burn myself because I do that quite a lot. All right, come on in. I'm going to show you the other ingredients. Oh, one more thing you will need. You will need a sieve for sifting the flour. All right, let's go. Okay, our ingredients as follows: 500 grams of butternut pumpkin, peel it and chop it. I've just got it in water at the moment. It's going to be going into water anyway, so it's fine. So you don't have to go too small with it, but don't be too big with it as well. So a nice even size. 2 cups of self-raising flour, which we are going to sieve through the sifter. 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds. That is those ones there. 2 teaspoons of dried oregano. That is from my friend's garden. I'm getting good use out of the oregano, which is awesome. 75 grams of butter melted. I haven't melted it yet, but it's in my butter jug ready to go in the microwave. Half a cup of milk. Generally try and use regular milk. I've still got my long life, low fat, lactose free milk. That one there. 2 eggs lightly beaten. I haven't beaten them yet, but I've got a cup ready to roll for those. 2 teaspoons of fresh rosemary sprigs. There we go. Normally I can find that in gardens. It's all gone. I'm going to try and grow that because I think that if I can get that to grow, it's probably going to be like lavender. It's just going to go everywhere, and then I can just go and pick it as I need it, technically. And butter to serve, that's optional. You can serve it with butter if you want. It's up to you. All right, anyway, let's get started. So first of all, on that stovetop, you want that water with the pinch of salt in it, and we want to bring that up to the boil. So I have had that boiling, bubbling away. And then what we want to do is we want to put the pumpkin in, and we are going to cook that for 8 to 10 minutes or until it's tender. So let's go with that step first. So the pumpkin's on. I'm just going to pop the timer on for 8 minutes because even though I turned the water off, it's still technically hot and it's in hot water. So just dry out the bowl because we are going to be using this again. Now what we can do is we can get a little bit ahead because the recipe tells me to bring it into here and mash it, but I think it's just going to be as easy to tip the water out and mash it in the saucepan, which is how mashed potatoes normally made. It's the same deal. All that we're doing different is we're just using pumpkin instead of potato. So as long as the pumpkin is soft, we're fine. So let's just set that aside for the moment and get moving with the rest of it. Set it right over there. So first of all, we're going to sift that. Okay, good. I can hear it starting to boil. I'll give that 30 seconds. So just through the sieve. So I've got two ways of doing it. I can either use this handy little invention that my mama brought home one day. I said, what the hell did you buy that for? But it's come in handy for so many things. If I want to sift flour and sort of keep it aside, perfect. And if the sieve dies, I can just use it as another bowl with a handle on it. Don't just spill it all over the bench like I did then, by the way. I'll get that off the bench. Alright, come on. You can just walk that through with your fingers. This is why you always have a clean workbench, so that if you spill flour, you can just get that back. Alright, our pumpkin's boiling, which is awesome. Okay. So let's bring this over. So into here, we're just going to give that another 20 seconds. I have had that out, but we're not in summertime anymore, so therefore we're not in winter either, so we're in between. We have these really funny days where one day it's really hot, the next day it's gone cold. So into this goes that flour. Let's get that butter. That should be more than ready now. Okay. And what we're going to do is I'm going to get a small fork. Because sometimes I have a habit of not quite splitting the egg and then it doesn't mix very well. So add flour, fennel seeds. That was those ones. That's 1 teaspoon. Your 2 teaspoons of oregano, your butter, your milk, and your eggs. So basically everything except that rosemary. So in goes the milk. Buzzer just made a weird sound. In goes that. And the eggs. Alright, we're just going to get those eggs. Now normally I start and mix it as I go, but that's what we're looking at the moment. So we'll get these eggs. So for you that are new to watching this channel, I always like to crack eggs into a cup. Eggs are very hard to get in Australia yet again. And it's getting quite annoying too. I'm not buying a chicken yet though. I have one of the delivery drivers at work that was telling me he's got so many eggs. And then he said, do you want some? And I said, well, I don't use many, but a few would be nice. So maybe I might get some eggs. I've just turned that pumpkin down because it looks like it wants to jump out. In goes first egg. And then in goes second egg. So you just want to pop it into a cup to make sure that A, there's no nasties, and B, you don't get any shell in there. Because, I mean, you're not really going to taste the shell, but you never know. Okay, so we're literally now just waiting for the pumpkin. And what we can actually do with the pumpkin, so I might try and get it out of there. If you have a garden, you can actually cool that water down because pumpkin water on your garden is a good idea. So I'll try and revive the water. Okay, so I'm just going to mix this, but we're waiting on the pumpkin, so we're not done yet. All right, just get all your flour in. There we go. I'm not going to mix it too well because we've still got the pumpkin, so that should be nearly ready. What we can do is we can get a small knife, give one of the pieces a little prod, and if they are soft, you're good to go. Just that little bit longer. They're nearly ready though. So I can keep the water, I'm going to strain it into here, and then that will cool that down quicker. Then I can put it on the garden. Okay, we have pumpkin, so we're just going to carefully tip this over. Now, if you're not a gardener, you don't need to worry about this step. But this is just basically so that I get all the water out. Pop it back into here because it does mash easier in there. Let's set that water aside. That's good. That's a lot of water there. That's 1 litre. Cool. Good work. All right. So just mash the pumpkin. The only problem with doing it this way, I guess, is that I've now got to scoop it over to there. It's not that bad though. All right. You don't want to have it lumpy, otherwise you're not going to have that smooth consistency that you want for your bread. If you want chunks though, you can, but personally I'm going for that smoother texture. All right. Scoop it in. This mash is good because I can use it as a bit of a scooper as well. Now with the 500 grams of butternut pumpkin, just to make it clear, it's 500 grams when it's not been peeled and chopped, just in case you're wondering, because the skin in that obviously does weigh quite a bit and you're getting rid of that, but you don't want 500 grams when it's already peeled, otherwise you'll end up with too much. All right, now we're just going to mix it in. This is going to give us a nice orange colour. There we go. Look at that. Get it mixed right through good. It will be really nice and smooth. Okay. Spoon mixture into prepared pan. Thank you, English. God. Lucky I use English as my first language, hey? All right, in we go. Spoon it in, scrape it in, same thing. Yum. Look at this. Now, I had planned on making this a lot earlier, but with the way my days are going at the moment, with public transport and walking, I had a bit of a nap rather than start this. But I would have started this like 5 hours ago, so it doesn't really matter. I am having this as a very late dinner with a cup of soup. So, different, I know, but... Or I might just have it on its own. I haven't decided yet. I've got cup of soup that I've got to use up, so I thought might go nice with that, but I might just have it on its own. All right. Try and scrape it all out of the bowl if you can, and then just smooth it. Doesn't have to be super smooth. Okay. Let's grab... So then on the top, all you want to do is just sprinkle the rosemary leaves. All right, we're going to bake this for 40 to 45 minutes. And basically when it's done, you'll stick a toothpick or a skewer in the middle and it will come out clean. So I'll see you when we have pumpkin bread. Yum. Okay, so after 40 minutes, I've popped it out of the oven. I've grabbed a toothpick, stabbed it in the areas where it looks like it needs to be checked. There's nothing attached to the toothpick, so it's done. So what you need to do is just leave it for a couple of minutes in the baking dish and then grab it from both sides with the paper and lift it onto a wire rack. You can have it hot or you can let it cool. But yeah, enjoy. Thank you for watching this episode of Cooking with Violet Vixen. This has been pumpkin bread. Catch you on the next one. Bye.